What's going on? This is David from Pier with another Zeitgeist game review. Today we're playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle from Machine Games and Bethesda Softworks. Let's get right into it. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a new RPG featuring an original adventure for the whip-cracking archaeologist set between the films Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. When a relic is stolen from under Indy's nose at his university, he sets off on another globe-trotting escapade that pits him against ancient riddles, evil Nazis, and powers beyond comprehension. The game is paced and plays like an 80s film, meaning that it's a bit slower than some gamers might expect. This is unfortunately reflected in the controls, which oftentimes feel sluggish. Indy moves like a real person rather than with the snappy precision of modern games. When relying on fists or a gun's aim, this can be frustrating. He also moves like a snail when climbing. It's still a satisfying gameplay experience which forces players to properly manage resources like bandages and bullets when sneaking around Nazi compounds. We get to explore wide settings and beautiful scenery packed with mysteries and multiple ways to pursue goals, but the branching level design is a double-edged sword. More than once I felt like I was doing something wrong or got somewhere in an unintended way. There's a sense of freedom that really makes each stage feel like an adventure, but it's frequently accompanied by a lack of direction, which gets exhausting before long. Still, each stage of the game is well thought out, loaded with satisfying but somewhat simple puzzles and collectibles that serve a purpose rather than just existing to lengthen playtime. This story is a perfect installment in the Indiana Jones series. It's much closer in tone and content to the original trilogy than the disappointing newer films. They also nailed Indiana as a character. He isn't played by Harrison Ford, but his voice, characterization, and even his mannerisms are a near-perfect portrayal. No offense to Han Solo himself, but it's refreshing to see a young Indy back at it. His character model is also very well done, which makes the choice to have the majority of the game in the first-person perspective odd, especially given Indy's disguises and costume changes. Thankfully, the cutscenes play out like a movie, and we do get to see a lot of classic Indy alongside the other phenomenally acted and rendered main characters. The eccentric main villain, Emmerich Voss, particularly stands out. But don't look at any unnamed characters on the edges of the frame, or you might just notice how little those character models were prioritized. I was nervous to play this game because I was raised on movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and my heart is weary from one too many lackluster indie adventures. I also wasn't sure how an Indiana Jones experience would translate to the video game format, but I'm glad to admit that my concerns were mostly unwarranted. So much so that I now find myself wondering if the future of the Indiana Jones franchise lies in video games rather than movie theaters. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a return to form for the franchise, featuring the iconic character at his tomb-raiding, Nazi-bashing best. It often feels like a better movie than a game, but it amounts to a balanced experience. As an Indiana Jones movie, it's a 5 out of 5. As a game, an average 3 out of 5. Altogether, it gets a strong 4 out of 5. If you played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, what did you think? What game should I play next? Let me know with a comment down below. If you liked this video, subscribe for a new review every month.